we deal with their sponsors. We deal with those who are funding them. Are we saying that up till now the federal government does not know who are the sponsors of Boko Haram? Who are those that have been funding them? Who are the people, I mean, where jet or helicopter will be dropping ammunition for the enemies to deal with Nigeria? So there's no intelligence. How many intelligence agencies do we have now? The last count, there are more than 5. So all these bodies are being paid to do the job of intelligence gathering. Are we saying that up to now they do not know who the sponsors are, who are the financiers, where are they from? Why are we playing the ostrich here? I think there is a little bit of politics in all these things. So that's why we still have Boko Haram around us. If we want to divert ourselves of politics, we really want to deal with these people and rescue the country from this state of predation. Of course, it would, in a matter of days, the army can do it. I'm telling you the truth.
Well, thank you very much for joining us on the program, Dr. Femi Adebule. He's a security expert, and he's been speaking to us on the Global Index report on terrorism and on Boko Haram here in Nigeria. We'll take a break on the world today. When we return, Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe calls for early elections in December. Welcome back to the world today. We're still looking at what's happening in other parts of the world. Well, Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has called for early election 2 years ahead of schedule. At a news briefing, he said it would dissolve Parliament later this week and would also delay a planned but unpopular increase in sales tax. Mr. Abe was elected 2 years ago with an ambitious plan to revive the economy, but so far he has struggled to do so. Although his popularity had fallen below 50%, he is expected to win the elections that will take place in mid-December. According to analysts, an early election means he is almost certain to win another majority. Calm is gradually returning to the streets of Hong Kong, where court bailiffs have cleared part of a pro-democracy protest camp in the Admiralty district. The bailiffs, backed by police, dismantled barricades outside CITIC Tower after the building's owners complained about the disruption and were granted a High Court injunction. The student protesters did not resist the clearance, and many even helped to remove tents and fences.
Dozens cleared barricades blocking a roundabout between Admiralty's CITIC Tower and the government headquarters on Tuesday, over 50 days after Hong Kong's pro-democracy umbrella movement kicked off. The area has been surrounded by metal barricades for weeks, leaving parts of the streets blocked and commuters facing a disrupted route to the central business district. Some protesters packed up their pillows, blankets and other belongings from inside their tents, prepared to move to another part of the demonstration zone.
It is really a shame that the government has to hide behind a civil case and hide behind the court, to use the court to do the clearance, so that, you can say that if people, block the clearance, it would be a contempt of court. I think they should not do that, actually, because you have really hurt the reputation of court. You are using the court against the people.
The protesters are demanding open nominations in the city's next election for chief executive in 2017. Beijing says it will allow a vote in 2017, but only for pre-screened candidates. Protester numbers have dwindled since the start of the movement, which drew well over 100,000 at its peak, but hundreds remain camped out in colorful tents at key intersections on both sides of the harbor.
Well, it's time for our focus on Africa, and we're starting here in Nigeria. President Goodluck Jonathan has written to the Senate asking for an extension of emergency rule in Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa states. This is the third time President Jonathan is asking for an extension of emergency rule in the 3 states. This is also the first time states in Nigeria have been under emergency rule for this long. In the letter read by Senate President David Mark at plenary, President Jonathan stated that despite concerted efforts by his administration to stem the tide of terrorism and insurgency in the affected states, the security challenges that necessitated the proclamation of state of emergency are yet to abate. Well, outside our shores, Kenyan police say that 4 people have been stabbed to death by rampaging youths in the city of Mombasa. The attacks came hours after police raided 2 mosques they accused of having links with militant Islamists in neighboring Somalia. 1 person was killed in the police raid and more than 200 people were arrested. Witnesses said masked youth armed with machetes went on the rampage, attacking people waiting at bus stops. Several others were injured in the attacks, which were carried out in apparent revenge for the police action. Meanwhile, in another part of Kenya's capital, Nairobi, about 100 people have been arrested after a second woman was attacked for dressing indecently. The police reported that the woman was assaulted, her clothes torn off, and was paraded along the road. The arrests and raids across the city were aimed at curbing the harassment of women. About 200 people rallied in Nairobi on Monday over the alleged stripping of a miniskirt-wearing woman last week. Terror group Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb has posted a video online of a French hostage kidnapped in Mali. 50-year-old Sergei Lazarevich was kidnapped in November 2011. A second hostage, Dutchman Jacques Reich, appeared in the video alongside him. Speaking in French, Lazarevich says his life is in danger since France intervened in Iraq. He also urged President François Hollande to secure his release. Family members say Mr. Lazarevich was kidnapped while he was scouting possible sites for a cement factory. He was taken alongside fellow Frenchman Philippe Verdon, who was shot dead in March 2012. Mr. Lazarevich is the last remaining French hostage anywhere in the world. Well, on a lighter note, Colombia's capital, Bogota, came alive last Friday for the start of the city's annual International Tattoo Festival. Thousands of ink enthusiasts from across the world looking to catch the latest in skin art flocked to the capital.
The second most tattooed man on earth held open proceedings by getting the Colombian flag inked on his leg. With about 99% of his body covered in ink, Gon talked about the latest modifications to his flesh designs.
I tattooed my own eyes the first time, and if you look at my banner, you'll see pictures of me with a blue eye and a green eye. I have now added magenta and gold in the middle, and magenta on the outside, and those colors have mixed with the blue and the green, and so I liked it. I already had the tongue done, so I wanted to do the eyes, and I wanted to be experimental with the colors.
Now in its 8th year, Bogota's International Tattoo Festival hopes to spread awareness of tattoo culture in Colombia, as well as help promote skin design as a legitimate art form. This is an event for the whole family, not just for a minority. It's not an urban tribe. We are people who are showing off art. We are demonstrating to society that we are productive people, useful to society. Amongst the events planned at the festival is a beauty competition to crown Mr. 2 2014.
Now, why would I want to tattoo my whole body? I really can't imagine. But hey, different strokes for different folks. That's it on The World Today. Thank you very much for watching, and to meet up with Fagbemi.